question. Well, I would say there's a couple things, but one thing that I really appreciate is furniture. I really like well-made furniture. I like craftsmanship of all types. I appreciate artists. I appreciate symmetry. I've never had a thing for mathematics in any way, but I guess in a sense I do, because I like good craftsmanship. I grew up in a family that didn't have a lot of money when I was younger, and even when my parents started making a little bit more money, and God bless them, my parents are both incredibly human beings, both incredibly intelligent. They were the best at buying things and buying quality products and doing research into that. And my character, even from young age, is all about like saving up more money so that I can get something that's actually going to last. You know what I mean? That's something well made. I remember when I was younger, when I was first starting out in this business, I was a broke, actor at theater school, working multiple jobs. I was bouncing, I was, serving. I was doing everything I could, like most actors do, trying to make a go of acting. And there was a watch that I just so admired. I went by a fancy watch store once, and it was a Movado watch. I don't know if anybody knows that company. It's a Swiss company, Movados. They make beautiful stuff. And I've never seen anything so, they're not fancy. They're not sort of, there's not a lot of bling with Rolex. It's not chunky, they're very seamless, smooth. They look like they barely got any moving parts. They're very much like a Cylon, to be honest with you. They're Cylon-like in their style and appearance. And this is even before I had about a certain price tag. But I would stare at this watch, and I would go buy this watch, and I had no money, and I was barely making rent, and I was eating, cans of tuna and Ichiban, because that's all I could afford. And I promised myself that I was going to buy that watch when I got my first big gig. And my first big gig, and when I say big gig, it was just a guest star. I had no business buying that watch, but I bought that watch. I bought that watch. Because for me, it's like, you gotta set goals sometimes, right? It was a dream of mine, and even at my lowest point, barely paying the rent, and I couldn't, there was no way I was gonna ask my parents for help. I just kept trying to believe in myself and talk to myself in an encouraging and positive way. So you're gonna buy that watch, you're gonna get that gig, you're gonna make that money, and you're gonna get it. And I can't tell you how proud I was when I actually bought that watch. I kept eating Ichiban and tuna for weeks after that because I spent all my grocery money on this watch. But I got that watch, and I loved that watch for many years. I think that answers your question. Thank you. Hi.
Hello. So you mentioned that you're from Canada, and I'm from Canada as well. I'm just wondering, what's your favorite and least favorite thing about Canada?
Where are you from?
Montreal.
Yeah, what a beautiful city. What's your least favorite thing?
Probably the winter.
The winter.
Yeah.
Wind, right? The wind. It's ice cold there. I've been in Montreal in the winter. Yeah, it can get cold there. I mean, listen, I'm from the Yukon though, so we got a whole different thing going on. When I was a kid, for those of you who don't know, being born and raised in the Yukon Territory, it was a normal thing that I'd get up in the morning for a couple months of the year, specifically January and February, to which this young lady can speak to in some ways. But I would go out to a vehicle that oftentimes wouldn't start. The only reason it would start is because we have to put battery blankets attached by an electrical cord, battery blanket around our vehicle so that it might start. Because when it's 40 to 50 below, vehicles freeze. Sometimes they just die. They don't work. Power steering, columns break. Like, it's insane cold. So cold that even though you had your vehicle running for 15 minutes so that you can go to work and you can go to school, because things don't shut down when it gets that cold up there. You just keep going. You keep going and you keep going. You get in the vehicle and you're sitting on a block of ice. No exaggeration. The seat is ice. It's rock hard. There's no cushion. And then when you start driving, the tires are square. No exaggeration. I'm not lying to you. That's how cold it is. The bottom of the tire is flat because the air molecules will stop moving because it's 40 or 50 below. That's how cold it is. So I am so happy to have experienced that because it made me, I would say, a hardened individual. But I don't miss that cold. I don't miss that cold, man. The Yukon, when I was a kid, we had 2 months of that. 2 months. The only time I didn't go to school because of the cold was when it was minus 53. In minus 40, your flesh is freezing in 15 seconds. Within 15 seconds of exposure, you're getting frostbite, where your skin is dying. But minus 52, we were still going to school. Minus 52, they're like, okay, wait a minute. This is a little too cold. It's a little too cold. You better stop these kids from going to school. To this day, most of my friends who I grew up with in Yukon, when they get hot, they sweat. Their skin is purple, usually around their cheeks, or their nose, or their ears, because all of us have frostbite. We all have frostbite as kids. Hardy Yukon kids. But there's so many beautiful things about Canada. It's a vast country. There are so many different, especially Canada pre-colonial. There are so many wonderful nations with rich histories and cultures and music. There's so many things I celebrate about that country, and I'm proud to be from there. Because I'm sure you will. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
My husband and I are huge fans of Dollhouse,
Awesome.
and we were wondering if you could rewrite the ending, what would you have happen?
Let me turn that around on you right now. What was the part of the ending that you really didn't like?
That it ended before it should have?
Yeah, I know. I was doing an interview recently just talking about that. I think Jaws had such capable writers on the show, it really is a crime that they weren't given just one more season to really wrap things up in a way. But you have to admit though, because I'm sure you were an old fan of his work, that they did a pretty incredible job. We found out halfway through that season that it was going to be wrapped up. And luckily, Fox decided to give us that last 6 episodes. I still remember the day being on set. We were doing like it was like 8 of the cast doing a big scene. And I could tell something was on Joss's mind, and I approached him because I didn't know if something was going on with the family or what. And just asked him if he was okay. Are you okay? He's like, I'll talk about this in a minute. Just, don't worry. We'll talk about it. I knew it was something heavy at that point, though. And yeah, he said, listen, the show's going to be canceled, but luckily we're not canceled today or tomorrow. We're going to be able to wrap up the season and finish our complete 13 episodes. So I was grateful for that, And I just really made a point of enjoying all of it as much as I can. It's too bad that universe wasn't explored further. I think in some ways, if you can even say this, maybe that show came a couple years too early. But then again, it's probably exactly where it was supposed to be, because if you look at how many shows took from that premise and a lot of those ideas years afterwards, I don't think that they would have even happened if Joss hadn't done what he did with Dollhouse. Thank you. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. I always get excited when I see you as a guest star on something, because even though it's not necessarily long-lived, it's always like an interesting character.
I appreciate
But
that.
anyway, if you could design a movie or a TV show for yourself, or if you were the star, like what kind of character would it be? What kind of plot? You said you love sci-fi, so probably something like that. But what kind of specifically?
That's a great question. I've been writing a lot. I've got about 3 screenplays of my own that are, I'd say, 90% complete. One in particular I'm still working on, but it's the one I'm most excited about. Those are not sci-fi. They're all set in Yukon territory where I grew up. I'm excited to eventually shoot those films. And one of them in particular, it's ambitious, but I feel, again, like you got to set some goals for yourself. And I want to direct it, and I want to star in it. I would be doing all the heavy lifting. It's very much an ensemble cast, and it's a story about a family who's struggling with many different things, and then a stranger comes into their life. And it's set in the 90s in the Yukon Territory. A large part of it, of course, is the elements in the Yukon. They play a character. The fact that you can die in those elements is a strong aspect of the story. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting that done. In a perfect world, I've been really eager and wanting to play a cop role. I would love to do a feature where I was playing a detective of some sort. That would just make me very happy. It's been a long time since I played a cop, and I'm looking forward to doing it again.
Thank you.
Thank you.